Welcome, everybody. We have Mary Beth in our podcast today, and I am so excited. And thank you to her for coming straight home from NFT NYC. And then I bugged her. I was like, hey, guess what? Can we do a podcast? So she gave us the pleasure of getting on with us. How are you today?
It was exactly like that, by the
It
way.
literally was. It literally was. But it looked like New York was a blast, and I thought you were going to be hung over for the whole thing, like for at least like the next week. So, but how are you feeling? How was it?
Well, I'm physically hungover, as in, I don't think I've been out like that, like from 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. without going back to the hotel for 4 days in a row. And I'm like, I'm not that young anymore. I
Y'all
mean, I'm
was out
still
there going
young, but
hard. Like, man, that was so
yeah.
cool. I really wish I could have gone, but it's okay. We'll be at the next one.
Yeah, it was awesome just meeting a lot of people that I spend so much time with on
Yes.
spaces, and then just being like, "Oh my god, you're really, really tall," you
Oh
know?
yeah, Tim
So,
for sure is
yeah.
tall. You could totally tell. But that is so cool that you guys got to hang out and have that experience. I mean, me and Christine were just talking about this yesterday about how NFTs has really taken us into a whole world of people and brought us together from all different lives. And we're literally talking to each other for hours a day. And then you get to meet them in real life, and it's like, whoa, like you're really a real person. You're not a bot, like. So that's what really makes it fun. But did you think even a year ago or 2 years ago you'd be in NFTs and traveling around and meeting people all around the world?
I didn't even think it was gonna be like this 5 months ago. You know what I mean? Like, um, first of all, 2 years ago, I don't even know where I was 2 years ago, but what are we in, 2022? That's 2020. Oh, that was that year. Okay. But I kicked back for a year and watched the space just as an observer. I'm like, what are these ape things? And just learning about the language and just seeing how people roll, and saw all the high school lunch tables form on Twitter and stuff like that. But even just I didn't I minted my first NFT in January, right? So it was, yes, because when it comes to stuff like this, I sit back, I kick back and watch first and just learn the lay of the land, right? So I'm into my first NFT in January, and then I remember, like, after that would have no, like, thoughts of even traveling to NFT NYC, collaborating with NFT communities, doing spaces with great people all the time, funny people, interesting people.
Every single day. Yeah.
Yes.
No, it's definitely not something that we all thought we would be doing, especially building for projects, which we do
Mm,
all the time, and they really rely on us and our expertise to help them out. Um,
right.
But I mean, before this, before life, as we know it, COVID, NFTs, all of that. What was your daily life like? Were you building business? Were you working? What were you doing before NFTs and COVID and all of this when life was normal? Right.
Normal. So for over 10 years, I was a hardcore publicist, public relations professional. I repped between athletes and talent actors, in sports and Hollywood. Did that for 10-ish, 11 years, but that was like, it was amazing. By the way, I wouldn't trade in that experience for
Definitely.
anything. Learned a lot, met insane amount of people. The relationships I built, I carry them with me wherever I go. I but that was, I always say it's 25 hours a day, 8 days a week, and 367 days a
Mm.
year, because it was just mm, I had to have like therapy sessions just on how to like heal with my cell phone. You know what I mean? And it was just very mentally demanding, I guess you could say. And so it gets draining, it gets draining when you just when you're nonstop like that, sometimes you don't know when you're at a party or when you're at work, and it's gray area. And yeah, so I made it a point. I knew that going into Web3, I will, therefore, I am living the lifestyle that I want
Right.
being in
So
Web3.
this is more a happier lifestyle, I guess you could say.
It's more peaceful, that's for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, they always have their
Mhm.
bumps, you know what I mean? But yes, I feel like for once I'm in control of my own
Right.
time.
And I always tell people that too is like you can grind and hustle and make all the money and work 24/7, but at the end of the day, are you happy? You know, is it
Yeah, you can't buy time. Like, you can't buy time. That's the one thing you can't change. It's not movable. You can't turn it back. You can't make it fast. It's just there, and it moves on, with or without you. So it took me a
yeah.
while to learn that.
No matter how much money you have either, and that's it doesn't matter. You can grind all day long, but what I really like about the world that we've gotten ourselves into is that it does give us our time. It does give us, when the market's up, it does give us money. But even when it's down,
Yeah,
it
right.
still provides, but also at the same time, I feel like my life has been a little bit more peaceful in the last year as far as before. I was doing the same, running around back and forth, trying to work as hard as I can to find that success. But I think it's taking me down a different route now, and where I'm really thinking about how I could have the best life, but also still have my time and enjoy life at the same time.
So, okay, let me ask you, what was your running around looking like?
Um, I mean, everybody already knows. So I was in the cannabis world for a long time. I had a couple, well, not that long. Okay, it was like 2 years. It wasn't that long. But I was building. I had a couple farms out in the desert, and it was literally me and my girlfriend jumping in the car, living out there for a week, coming back home for a week, going back out there, living in a trailer for a week. Like at every other week, that's what it was, and we were grinding and hustling and really trying to find success, but it also showed that no matter how hard or how bad you want success, sometimes it won't come, no matter how hard you work for it. It's just the reality of it. And there are things in the rest of the world that will stop you from doing certain things, because it's just not your path. And then,
For sure.
it came down to this. And I mean, a lot of people know in January, February, March, I traded over $100,000 in, obviously, in ETH, uh by flipping and trading NFTs. I'm really good at that part of it, so I could make a living and live off of NFTs and building communities and all that. But obviously, our market's down right now, which affects all of us. But yeah, but I like it.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thanks. Of course. A lot of people don't know that. That's, and before that, I was in social media marketing, like literally just trying to get every business, every project I can to survive. It hasn't been the easiest journey by far, but I will say that I enjoy this life a lot better, as far as I've come so far. Yeah.
Right?
But
It's kind of nice to be able to grow your own self or your own brand or your own person as a
right,
human.
exactly. And that's the
Yeah.
message I want to put out there. I want people to know how important it is to have a strong mindset through all the trials and tribulations that we're going through in life. Like that was literally one of my questions is like, how do you keep a strong mindset through everything, through the bear market right now, and then everything that you went through before in life?
I mean, is that a
Right?
question? Because
Literally.
I mean, look, this sounds like what everyone else says. So I'm no finance expert or crypto expert. I mean, I take what's comfortable, So for me, because it's one of the easiest ways to kind of comprehend, like, should I or should I not. I compare it to shoes sometimes. Okay, we need shoes, but I want them more than I need them,
Exactly.
right? I have like the same pair of YSLs but in like 8 different colors. So the way I think about it is like, is this like really worth it? Like, whether it's $200, $800, $1,000, right? Am I willing to lose this? Am I willing to lose this 200? Am I willing to lose this
Right.
800? If I am, like, or if it's like a couple, investments and it becomes one big investment, I'm like, well, there goes the random trip to,
Wherever.
I don't know, Big Bear or
Yeah.
something, right? So that's the way I have to think about
Right.
it.
Yeah, because I mean, especially when life goes up and down, right? You start a business and that
Yeah.
business can easily just go south real quick, and it could be out of your hands on why things happen. For instance, I started a business
Mm-hmm.
during COVID. I wanted to do a protein company, CBD protein powder. And in the midst of all of it, the manufacturers took a year and a half to make my protein. Meanwhile, I launched already. I told people it was started. I started, wanting to do pre-orders and all this. They told me 3 months, and it took them a year and a half.
Oh my gosh. That was that or over promise, under delivered
Exactly, exactly. They told me
mistake.
3 months, it's gonna be done. I was like, okay. Website up, Instagram up, pre-sales, promoting, and they didn't come with me for a year and a half to get my project, my protein here. That killed my whole business. And at that point in my life, I was like, why am I trying?
Right.
You know, if life
Yeah.
literally won't give me an inch, why do I keep trying? So,
Yeah.
what do you tell people in that position in life where they're trying their hardest, but they keep getting the door slammed in their face? What do you tell them to keep going?
I mean, look, whatever it is that you're doing, if you are taking the same approach, whatever that approach is, right? Like, say you're in sales. If you take the same approach over and over again and you get the door shut on you over and over again, it's time to pivot or adjust your
Right,
approach. Simply
right.
put.
Try to do things differently. If it's not
Yeah.
working for you over and over and over again, don't do the same things over and over again.
Is it, I mean, 100%. It's like that's what insanity
Yeah,
is.
yeah, and keep when you consistently think the different outcome is gonna come and it's not.
Right.
Um, yeah, and I definitely think that. I mean, you can always do what's his name? Zagabond. What Zagabond does, just new project after new project after new project until it works, right?
Right. I mean, I'm not saying keep throwing spaghetti at the wall to see, which noodle sticks or
Of
whatever,
course.
but it's
I
fine.
definitely think, with life and how it is, because we are going to go into, at least what people are saying, we're going to a recession, right? Markets down, world's down, the economy's down. Going through each day, there's a lot of people that are figuring out life at this very moment. Would you recommend a person to still look into the crypto NFT world?
Why not? I tell, whenever someone asks me, how do I get into Web3? How do I work in it? I always say, what's your best skill or what's your best talent?
Right,
Take that and run with it.
right.
Whatever it may be. It could be website designing, it could be sales, PR, like anything. Run with it. Just run with it.
Even what are you willing to learn? Because there's a lot of people that
Yeah.
can come into this space and learn how to do these things, learn how to write the code or make the art or whatever it may be, or just learn how to trade at the same time too.
Yeah. I think it's oh man, if someone doesn't have patience and the willingness to learn, it's not going to
Right,
work, you know? If you're trying to flip some J's like, NFTs like that, it's not going to work,
right.
you know?
I think if that's the sole purpose of it and you don't want to come and learn how to do it, like you can't just come in and trade crypto.
Oh, no.
There's no way,
You
you
know?
know. You can't come in and just expect to you most people that's what they did. They bought the top of Bitcoin, they bought the top of Ethereum because they don't know the trends of how our market goes, right? So, and
Right.
then those are the same people that will complain that they've lost everything because they didn't take the 5 to 10 minutes or 10 days to just read up on what you're trying to do in life, what you're putting a lot of money into. You should know these things.
Right. It's like going into like a carnival and then getting mad that you didn't win any of the
Right.
prizes. You know, like you kind of know what's supposed to happen and you can make some educated moves, but don't throw your entire wallet out at a carnival. Do you get what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Now, when you're living life on a daily, I would say that, you have or I guess from the outside perspective, you have a blessed life, right? When
It's always the outside
of
perspective,
course, it's
right?
always like we always look at each other like, oh, they have the best life. But in reality, we don't know what's going on in the background, right? So, and on a daily basis, what do you do on a daily basis just to express gratitude to yourself to keep your mood up and uplifting? What do you practice that on a daily?
So, okay, let me rewind a little bit. So, disclosure, I'm actually 4 years and May, June, 2 months sober,
Very
right?
nice.
So that's 50 months sober, and a part of that, it was it wasn't just stopping drinking and yada yada yada. It was more so, hey Mary Beth, let's shift your mindset a little bit,
Right.
right? I mean, look, I can I have to remind myself, like, I can say, oh, I lost, so let's say $1,000 in ETH this past week or something, right? I can say, man, I wish I just lived in a better house or something like that, right? But like, I remember those days when, I'm just like, okay, over 4 years ago, like I lost my car, uh, credit card closed, and I was like below zero. Do you get what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And so, like, I am thankful for what I have now because not everything could have gone the way it has, right?
exactly.
I am thankful that I am alive. I am thankful that I have the opportunity to be on this podcast with you. I'm thankful for the things I get to do on Twitter. I am grateful that I'm able to take my experience, in work and in life and share about it on whatever social media platforms, right? And people, it makes an impact, maybe even if it's just one person. Like,
Exactly.
I have to tell myself sometimes out loud, right? um like, just I just have to remember like what it was like 4 years ago or something.
Right. And if you don't mind going a little deep, but how was it going through that process to realize that you needed to change and then to actually, take the action? Because I think that's the biggest thing with people in life is we realize that we need to change. We realize that there are like we could be destroying our own life right in front of us and realize it, but they still continue to do it? And then there's actually the people who say, I'm gonna change this. How did you make that decision?
All right, I'm gonna kick back and actually like vape to this one. Look, because that's part of my story. All right, let's be real here. So like, I I don't know how much you want to know, but like, I'll just put it this way. So like, everyone has their escape, right? And it's so funny because I just had a space on Twitter. It revolved around sports, and I was talking about, like, we were talking about the business of sports, but then at the end I said, at the end of the day, like, let's keep sports fun for kids, right? They're kids, just let them play. It's not about the money and it's not about contracts and stuff like that. And I was explaining to people, I'm like, yeah, sports had become, like, when I played college lacrosse, when I played club volleyball, when I played soccer at recess, it was like this temporary
Of
escape,
course.
right? Sometimes it's a coping mechanism. Sometimes, like, I'm sure that every person when they were younger had something they would run away to, right? Whether it was an imaginary place or a favorite toy or something. And now that I think about it, like, it's kind of weird when you're an adult and you don't do the same things that you always did when you were younger, i.e., sports, right?
Yeah.
Like, I can't just like go play volleyball every day at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and play a game on a
Right.
Saturday, right? And so, like, I don't know. I think something in there was like missing. And I'm not going to say it was sports, but it was something that wasn't fulfilling me, like, I guess, physically, mentally, spiritually,
Right.
right? I know that sounds cheesy, but it's just like all I know is that it cannot be all about just work. Okay? Like, it cannot just be about chasing
Right.
paper. Because when life becomes chasing paper, for me at least, I had nothing else. Like, close relationships with people, social life, it was like when you're chasing something, you always have this shiny object that you want to reach, but then like there's always another object after that and after that, like it never
Right.
stops, right? And when you always have a shiny object to chase after time, you're not able to like even pause and be like, I'm already thankful for one shiny object, you know what I mean? So um it took it took some hard lessons for me to change it up, you know. It took a little bit of talking to people, hearing about myself from other people. It took a lot of bit of like pain, you know what I mean? Financial distress. And I'm like, okay, fine. If this, you know, changing my ways, changing my lifestyle, doing whatever I got to do to make that change, if it can make me a little bit better mentally on the daily, or maybe a few bucks, even like $5 better than I was
Right.
yesterday. All right, bet I'm
Yeah.
game. Let's try it. You know what I mean? So people like to take risks, which is great. For someone like me, taking a risk and doing the simple thing was hard, but at least it's brought me where I am
Yeah.
today. You know?
Yeah. That's, I mean, I'm really happy that you were able to go through that journey and come out of it and be stronger. And I think that's really what it is. We're battling every single day to just be happy, right? And whether that's
Yeah,
coping or ignoring it or being completely oblivious or just drowning in it, it's there. And it's literally our choice on a daily how we get through our days, letting it
for
run
sure.
us or we are overcoming it, and I think that's definitely where it lies in our life.
And some people tend to I mean, I used to have the habit of drowning myself in work so I didn't feel
Right.
anything else, you know?
Yeah, I
Um,
think I do the same thing with
you
my
know,
team.
perhaps that's not chemically bad for you, but it can take a toll on your head and your heart, you know? And then you start distancing yourself from people,
Right.
and that's, you know, if you don't have connection with people, then that's where it starts to hurt.
Yeah, and that's the part that it hurts them too to have to deal and try to take care and be mindful of the things that you're going through, but at the same time those connections can be broken because in those moments you don't care, right? It's like life sucks, I
Right.
don't care. That's just what it is. We all feel that way, but being mindful of how we treat the people around us is super important because they're the ones that's going to bring us up at our lowest points. Yeah.
100%.
And that's what's really cool about, I think, in the NFT space, even though it's been pretty bad, like, the negativity has been pretty bad in the space, but there are connections that we all have made that have, I think, helped us through life in many ways. Like Christine is a huge blessing in helping me be who I am as an influencer in the space right now and just doing the things that I do. And I definitely am grateful for the things. And um I think the connections that we make between ourselves and other people is super important, especially just growing in our life. Because
You know, I think it's okay to be picky, right? Selective, um, you know, regarding with whom you surround
right,
yourself. You know, like there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of negativity, but I myself, I have the choice to block it out, whatever that means, whether it means unfollowing,
Right.
whatever, right? Like at the I have to take care of
Right.
myself, my eyes, my head, you know? And so and I like um not just for outward facing purposes, but like I just like to be selective about, you know,
Yeah.
with whom I talk,
Exactly.
you know, where I get maybe suggestions
Right.
from, who I hang out with in spaces,
Mhm.
even,
Oh, yeah.
you know?
Especially in spaces, because so many people are like, "Oh, this is such negative. This space doesn't need it. I hate hearing that." Then don't join the space. It's that simple.
Yeah,
Like, if
yeah,
people are saying stuff that I just don't wanna like, I'm the most non-controversial person. People will come in my space and be like, "Did you hear this happen?" I was like, "Yep." "What do you think about it?" "Mm." Like, "Do you really wanna hear what I have to say? Because
yeah,
what I'm gonna say, y'all might not like anyways, and at the end of the day,
yeah.
it's like I just don't like the drama and I don't like the negativity. Like, it's just how I am, I guess. Yeah,
Oh, for sure. It's just healthier, you know?
very healthy. I think I don't.
Yeah.
Well, I hope so. I hope so. Maybe it's just like they say you turn a blind eye and then you're kind of oblivious. I feel like I am that type of person in real life. Like, if there's a problem, I want to deal with it right then and there. I can't just like not pay attention to it. You know?
There's always a time, place, and manner to do
Right.
so, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. So what does the future look like for you? Like, if say Web3, we don't recover for the next 6 months. What's the next 6 months of life look like for you?
So if the market doesn't recover for the next 6 months,
They're saying
jeez,
6 to 12 months. So let's just say for the next year.
So, okay, this is kind of tied to why I've always been more so either an entrepreneur or an independent contractor. I never want to rely on something else or someone else for my
Right.
income.
Right.
Period. I can offer services or, you know, whatever products, but I don't ever want I want my work to produce my income directly from me, by me, to me,
Right.
right? Um, and what's and I'm saying this because like a lot of people say like I want more stability, therefore I want to go corporate.
Right.
Great. You know, that works for a lot of
Right.
people. For me in my head, I mean, it just does not work for me,
Same.
period. But I'm always like, yeah, because there's a 50% chance they could let me go for whatever reason, their own financial,
Right.
hardships. Mergers happen, acquisitions happen, like, right?
Anything can happen.
You never know. So even in Web3, right? I've learned that it's not about just Web3 and NFTs. At the same time, like work on if you're, strong in branding, work in branding yourself.
Right.
Like who are
Right.
you? Who are you as a human? You know what I mean? Like people know that I collaborate and work with a couple of NFT communities, but at the end of the day, like I make sure I have time for my personal
Right.
branding. On Tuesdays, I have my space to talk about what I feel is important, or if I want to corral some really cool people together. And so like if this is if this is what the market's going to be like for 6 months to a year, and then I will just keep on trucking and doing my thing,
Exactly. Exactly.
right? I try my best to not live in fear,
Yeah. No fear.
cuz if you
Exactly.
living in fear is not
No.
fun. So if there's a way to erase that fear, it makes life more bearable in tough
And my
times.
best way, I think, when I think about something I'm scared of, even like nervousness, right? Because a lot of times nerves can just unend us literally and keep us from doing things because we're nervous, right?
Yeah.
So I correlate fear with nervousness. I mean, they kind of go together, but at the same time, the best way to handle your nerves or fear is to go right at it. Take the chance. What's the worst that could
Yeah.
literally happen? Unless it's something dangerous. Don't just, throw your life away, but
No.
if it's
No.
like you said, branding and building yourself, you are your biggest cheerleader, you are your best supporter, you are the only thing that in this life that you truly have. Build yourself, be proud of yourself and build your presence because at the end of the day, I feel like truly every person has something to bring to the table.
Yeah, I find it most common with people who work in, like, if they work independently, if they do any type of like marketing or PR, I think that people in that niche are so used to pumping up everybody
Right.
else except for themselves. And so it was interesting. I was talking to a friend of mine who works in marketing and merchandising, and I said, "Oh, what's your website, by the way?" She's like, "I don't have one." I was like,
Yep.
"What?" You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like, you're really good at what you
Right.
do, you know? And I'm like, but I get it. You've spent like the last decade and a half making sure everyone else's business grows, but don't forget to take care of your own business,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even like you said, for us, that's something that we need to focus on. That's why I started doing this because this is something that I really love. And we do it in spaces every single day. But at the same time, we're building up other people. We're building up other projects so that other people can make them money, right? And when we look at it, we're a worker at the end of the day. As much as we love to call ourselves an entrepreneur, because we work for
Yeah.
ourselves, but technically we're still making someone else money, right? And
Yeah.
we're not building for ourselves and focusing and building our brand. And that is something I realized. And it's crazy because at 29, I think I've had the most epiphanies in my life than I've ever had. In noticing things of myself that I'm doing wrong and things that I want to change and I want to be better at. And I feel like this is going to be a pivotal year of my life where I look back and say, okay, that's when I changed everything. Right. And
That's
I
awesome.
want people to know is like to that they can do it themselves. Like it may take a lot of time. Like literally my dad for the last 5 years has been telling me to do podcasts. Why, son? Because you could talk. You know how to talk to people. You know how to make them feel good.
He sounds like my
Literally, and
dad.
my dad has been telling me this, and it took me sitting here on my couch watching YouTubes and literally saying, "What the hell? I do this. Like, I can do this." And this may become something, or it may not, but I will be proud of myself for trying.
Oh, no, for
Yeah,
doing. You're not even trying, you're
yeah.
doing.
And I don't want to look back. Like in my life, I literally was just writing this down. I was like, I made so many fucking mistakes that I am just tired of it. Like I want to go the route of life that I've tried and I did everything I could to be a successful person, a good person. And if I make it or don't make it, I will be okay because I'm happy that I gave it my all.
Yep. I always tell people, you know, if you do what you enjoy and if you're a little bit fruitful with it, right? And you maintain your side of the street as clean in doing
Right.
so, it's worth it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that I'm getting there. I think that hopefully, a lot of people, like you said, even if it's just one person, I hope one person hears this and says, I need to do better for my life too. And that's the only reason why I'm doing this is not to be famous or do all of those things, but to help people, help one person at a time, one person that hears our voices. So, I really appreciate you taking time out and even just doing this with me. Like,
Of
appreciate it.
course. When do I get to interview you?
Go ahead.
So, where are you from and what's your favorite color?
I am from a very small town called Victorville, California. It's,
Ah, Apple
yep,
Valley,
right next to Apple Valley. Um,
halfway to
halfway to
Vegas from
Vegas. That's
LA.
literally what I was gonna say. Most people don't understand, so I say, LA, Vegas, right in between. There's that desert city. Yeah, that's where I'm from. My favorite color is red.
Is
Yeah.
it? Interesting.
Um,
Are are you do you have
nope,
siblings?
only child.
I could have guessed that.
Yeah.
Kind of takes one similarly to know one. Okay. Great. And where do you actually, yeah. Where do you see yourself in this market 6 months to a year from now?
So I think in 6 months to a year. So okay, this is not the best reference because people don't love this guy. But Beanie was a behind the scenes consultant, made thousands of ETH just helping projects be successful, telling them that secret freaking formula to be successful. That's where I am working myself to be an advisor that can take a project give them the right formula so that they can be successful and actually build something worthwhile. Right? That's my goal. My goal is not to sell out projects. That's why we left that same project that we were on, because at the end of the day they only had one goal, and that was to sell out. There was
Yes,
nothing beyond that, and I just can't stand for that, because you're also my reputation. What I represent, people look at. And
for
if it's
sure.
just a project coming to sell art and get out, I'm not part of that. So
So when you meet with people in terms of potentially working with them, what do you look for in both the project and the people?
the first thing I literally ask them every time, so after Mint, what are you guys planning to do? That's the first question I always ask them. What's your plan after Mint? I don't care about selling. I don't sell out a project. It's all you got to do is put in the right alpha chats, right? You got to get the right people talking about it. But what do you plan to do beyond that? What's the next steps after you mint out? And if they come to me and say, well, we haven't thought about that yet. Well, we don't know. So you're only focused on selling the project out. Yeah, shouldn't that be what we're worried about? No. That part's the easy part. Yeah, sure, you need community managers. You could throw some good amount of money and sell out any project. Just to be very clear out
Yeah.
there. You could put the right price on it and sell out any project. But if for that project to have a good floor, or for it to last past 1 month, you have to have a literal plan for that whole process, or your project's dead. Within a week,
Yeah.
if you don't put out announcements and updates within a week of your mint, your project's dead. Even now, people want it the next day,
Ugh.
right?
But on the contrary, I do feel that Web3 has definitely bred a community of like really
Yes,
impatient people,
yes.
which is a
It,
downside, in my
it
opinion.
definitely has. And that's why I stress even more is, what is your plan after mint? Because people are so impatient now. They want. They want the reveal within, if it's not instant reveal, it has to be within what, 24 to 48 hours.
Oh, yeah,
Any longer
100%.
than that, people are impatient and they start selling, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay, how soon do you plan to reveal your art? Then next is, what's your next announcement? After you reveal, what's your next announcement? And how soon is it? Right? You should have an announcement within at least 24 hours to 48 hours after your reveal, just letting people know, hey, thank you so much for minting out. We love the community. We
100%.
hold a space, do any type of interaction, you know. And then after that, okay, like with the Nero's project, I don't know if you've seen that one yet, my gaming project that I'm on. We have it after our main mint. Every week is a deliverable. You're gonna get this. You're gonna get this. You're gonna get this. You're gonna get this. And then within the first 2 months, so that's 8 weekends, you will be receiving something every weekend up until the 2 months. Then the 2 months, you get dropped your next companion. The companion comes after 2 months, but in between that, you're getting land, you're getting a comic book, you're getting to go into the game and get the demo. You get to go play the game and get in-game rewards. You know what I mean? Like every single, so like planning it out.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. Do they tell the holders that? Did they tell them beforehand?
So
Or is it like a
it's a
surprise?
surprise, right? So, well, saying things are coming, we're building, right? And stay tuned to this date. That's all we're saying. Now this date,
Yeah.
boom, you get a drop. Oh, now everybody's excited. Da 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 da. Oh, guess what, guys? Stay tuned to this date. Wait, what? You guys just dropped last Friday. What do you mean? Wait till this next Friday. So now this next Friday, boom, another drop. Now what's happening is people are seeing the value that we're adding to the holders, even if it's a, hey, here's a free comic book laid out for your character, or here's a free skin that you can use in game. But you know what's happening in these people is just like what Bored Apes did. Here's this, here's this, here's this. So you don't have to sell your NFT. If you can convince people to hold their NFT that they minted and give them added value beyond that, now you have a project that's worth supporting and is going to drive secondary sales,
I like that.
right?
Not a lot of people really think about those types of approaches. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
because you know why? It takes extra work.
yeah.
And how
Oh,
many people? Oh,
Yeah.
we'll build the game after we mint out, or we'll do this after we mint out because we need the funds to go and build this. But how many projects are out here actually already working and have all these deliverables? Or if that's the case, if you need to wait until you mint out so that you could truly have funds to build what you want to build, already be in talks with the people that's going to build it. So as soon as the funds come in, you're to work.
It's almost like it's so simple, but
It
again,
doesn't.
not a lot of people really execute that way,
Yeah,
right?
literally.
Yeah.
So that's where I try to help projects kind of lay out that path so that they could be something long term. So in 6 months and to a year after they mint out, they're not just completely dead and forgotten about.
I love what you do. Thank you for what you do.
I just try. I try my best. It's so funny because I was going through it in my head today. I was like, do people even really like what I say? Like, or am I just doing this for no reason? You know, like this is my own battle I'm having in my head is like, am I what I'm doing? Is it even worth it?
Like it's not even whether or not people like what you say, right? At the end of the day, I always say there are two types of clients. They're the ones who hire you and pay you because they know that they need you, and they will happily, consider and use your services. Then there are the other clients who will pay you because they know that they need you and they want your help, but they're still going to be stubborn about it
Oh
and
my
fight back
God,
about it and not listen to your professional advice. So,
literally.
half the battle is finding the first type of client, but I mean, if I don't know how to do something and I pay someone to do it, I, if I hire someone, that means I trust them, and if I trust them, I just let them do their
Right?
thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
No, exactly. And I think that's where people like me and you will definitely have a future, especially Christine and the people who really are trying to help behind the scenes with all of these projects will have a really good future in this space in 6 months to a year. Once we actually see a real foundation of what the metaverse is going to be, a real foundation of how blockchain is going to affect our future. Because right now we have an idea, we have little its and bits and tips of it, but if we look back to the days when Google was just coming out and the internet was just coming out, those people who knew how it works before it actually hit mainstream, those people are making ridiculous amounts of money. They're billionaires,
Oh,
not
yeah.
trillionaires, right? So that's
Mm-hmm.
why I'm taking this space and I'm watching and I'm learning not only NFTs, but how blockchain can be applied to sports teams, to airlines, to other things like that, to telephone companies. So that way, when they do adapt it and we do see that blockchain is the future, oh, guess what, guys? I have the formula right here, but you're a 8, 10 figure company. So guess what? This is $1 million right here. This knowledge in my head is,
Yes.
$1 million consultation
Correct.
fee. So I'm trying to learn, and I think you are too, and Christine is, and a lot of people in this space that are really learning how to put this into its place once it's time. So that I really don't want to give up on Web3 because of this bear market, and I'm not going to because I know the potential that this has.
And if you give up on Web3, then who's going to be
Right,
there? Like the next new
right,
person, you know? I mean, I know we're not like the only people working in Web3, but I'm just saying, like, just imagine,
yeah.
it just time plays a part in it
I just
too.
look at it. If you look at the
Experience.
internet, YouTube wasn't there when it first started, right? And,
Right.
Twitch wasn't there when it first started. Even all of
Nope.
these websites today that we spend, Facebook, Instagram, all of this, TikTok, it wasn't here when the internet first started. But what somebody did is they looked into the future and what we need with the knowledge that they have, and they created something for it. That's what I want to do. I might look at the blockchain and be able to go to a video game company because I'm passionate about video games and say, hey, guess what? This is how you can do NFTs without costing you any money, security, or anything like that. Just pay me for my consultant fee. And we just adapted video games into Web3 just like that by the right information being passed along.
Mm,
Right. So that's how I see our future,
that's great.
you know?
Yeah.
And there's so many applications with everything in life, and this literally can be something to change our world as we know it. It will be. So we just got to be ahead of it. That's all.
I have a question. What do you think about the business of, or the usage of business cards? Okay, I know we don't really use them, the
Yeah.
paper ones,
Mhm.
right? But what about like, what's the best way to efficiently exchange appropriate contacts with people? I know we tend to just like text me, okay, here's my number,
Mhm.
right? But like more so the work email and the name, you know what I mean? Just to have that
Right.
like little
You know
package.
what's crazy is that we've gone from the day and age of a card with all of our information, right? To here's my cell phone number, text me, to here's my Instagram, my Twitter, my TikTok, or my whatever, DM me on there, right? That's how the times have changed, where now it's like people aren't asking for your business card. Hey, what's your Instagram? What's your Twitter? Right? It's become social media has become that platform of the new business card, because why? If I tell you I'm a social media manager and then I say, yeah, go check out my Instagram, I have 50,000 followers. Go check out my TikTok, I have 50,000 followers. You're going to be like, holy shit, he might know a little something about social media management.
True.
That's
True.
better than if I walk up to you and say, "Hey, here's my business card for social media management." You look at me, my neck's tatted, my arms are tatted, right? Like I look like I'm still 20 something, but I'm really 30 or about to be 30. I never got taken serious, as a real businessman because of how I looked and how young I was. People didn't believe I knew social media like I did. But social media actually was the best business card I could have ever asked for,
That's great. You should quote that, tweet that.
right? Put
Yeah.
that all right. But no, I for real, like I think we'll move into a new age where, see, this is one thing. Okay, don't steal my idea, right? But one of the
Go on.
projects that I'm working on, um is kind of like our PFPs that actually look realistic, right? So we all love to use pictures of ourselves, but when we have avatars in the metaverse, you're either gonna want it to look like you or you don't. A lot of people like my avatar will probably look like me, right? Because I love
Mm-hmm.
to represent myself, but there are some weirdos out there that might have some, oh, I don't even want to go there.
Spiders
Right,
and
exactly.
goblins.
But what if our PFP or our avatar was our business card, right? So I've been trying to figure out how to embed a QR code into our PFPs. So then all you have to do is, oh yeah, what's your information? And you have your PFP or whatever. Or people on Twitter in your spaces can just scan your PFP and it brings up all your information, your work email, your business card, your contact information, blah, 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 blah. I don't know if that's a good idea. Even your website, right? Having a little QR code mixed into the close or something like that. So it's,
I mean, they have QR code business
yeah, but
cards.
what about it as like I'm just saying, like as a PFP, like say your PFP.
Yeah, I mean, like, kind of like how right now, if I your PFP, I see what your OpenSea is. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's interesting.
Just thinking about it is how can we make NFT PFPs more usable? Like give it a better use case other than just a picture, right? Because I feel like if you said, hey, here's an NFT, it does this, this, and this. It provides people your information, it takes them to your website and whatever, your social medias. But
So that would mean though, if you did have all of your contact information connected to your PFP,
obviously you're doxxed.
well, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but what happens when you sell it?
It changes. So what if you can go right on the website and it can on the blockchain realize that it's been sold or transferred or anything like that. Any type of changing from wallet to wallet, it will clear all of that previous information and then that person can go onto whatever website, let's just say qrpfp.com, and you can add in all your information and it's now yours.
You can totally do that. Um, I'll definitely connect you with someone who talks about this stuff on the daily. Um, That's really interesting. I feel like the technology you would build is, you know how we have like
Mm-hmm.
ENSs? I feel like it would be
Similar.
how to create whatever you want public or known to other people, that information in the form of an ENS, kind of like how it connects to your wallet
Right.
address, but something similar to
Yeah,
FP.
exactly. For businesses, because I feel like every business pays 100,000, 200,000, $20,000 for their logo. Now, literally, all you have to do is go and buy a NFT of a logo that you do like. Not all the NFTs out there are freaking PFPs. There are designs and geometric patterns, all that kind of stuff that you could use for your logo. Now you just like an ENS, like you said, you can link that PFP to your business, and now everybody knows that PFP is your business. It takes you to your website, all of that, right? You link them together. I don't know, thinking out loud.
I dig. I get it.
So, but that's something I can go to a business out there right now and say, hey, here's a new logo for your business. And guess what? It's scannable so that you could just throw up a flyer all around town and people can go and literally shop on your website. And if you want to accept crypto, you could do anything like that. That could be your ENS name, everything, and just bring them that whole package.
Mm.
Because I feel like it's going to be us that takes it to mainstream, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, unless I don't know. I always have those conversations about mass integration and onboarding. No one's going to onboard. I mean, no, I shouldn't say that. Onboarding is a very strong word. Onboarding means bringing someone on with the intent that they will like it, agree, use it. You know what I mean? You kind of have to educate before onboarding. Some people don't like to learn about things that they don't want to learn about, so you kind of just have to immerse, in their everyday lives, right?
So I think there's a lot of potential for sure. And I think my mind constantly works is how can I make millions of dollars from the blockchain as it is right now? And I think that it is going to the real world companies and showing them the potential of this and giving them a platform that's easy to use, right? And that their customers can adapt to simply. But that's the only step we're missing right now is the simple factor, but secure, simple but secure factor, so that my mom can go into a store right now, scan whatever it is, and buy with her crypto wallet and leave. Just that simple.
Mm-hmm.
So if we could figure that part out, that's where the millions of dollars will be done.
I'm with
Right?
it.
Exactly.
I'm with it.
So
Yeah.
that's literally where I see this going and what I'm trying to work for. But I don't know. We'll get there one day,
Yes, we will get there. You are
right?
there. It's just the path.
But I really do again appreciate you for doing this. Is there anything else that you would like to tell the people out there from Mary Beth herself? How do anything at all? Make your day better, motivational, or just be cool, whatever it may be.
Yeah. I just like to take one day at a time, you know? And thank yourself. Like thank yourself, you know, for bringing to where you are today, and it's okay to pause and just be grateful for what is right in front of you, whether it's a cheeseburger or the roof over your head, you know? Because every day really is a blessing. Not everyone has the privilege of the simple things. So before you get into discord and whine about something like Wendao, think about like real life,
Yeah.
because it's a privilege. It's really a privilege to even be in Web3.
Yep.
So,
Exactly. Well,
yeah.
thank you so much, Mary Beth. I really appreciate you taking the
Thank
time.
you.
And make sure you guys drop a like on this video. Show Mary Beth some love. Make sure you guys subscribe to the page. And just know that we love you guys. We're here for you guys. And that is it. We are out. We will catch you guys later. Peace.
Thank you. Ciao.